Wicked, 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 wicked. Wicked tones, you know.
What is it, the Puerto Rican Pro? Or Portugal?
Yeah,
Portugal Pro. The Rotunda. What is that called? The rotating table. Where they brought all the, when like people came out, I think it was the girls. I don't know if it was a guy's show. And they're like rotating around slowly, all the competitors like posing, going around in a circle. Like it just reminded me of like a cattle auction. Like where you're like bidding on heifers. Like bidding on your next heifer, work cow, whatever the fuck it is. It's like a livestock auction. But it's a pretty cool idea if you really think about it. Like, as awkward, it's just awkward to look at because no one's ever done it before. So it's like, what the fuck is that? But I think bodybuilding could use more innovation in terms of like how they put on shows and how they kind of like put the athletes up on a pedestal and show them off, right? Because let's face it, like especially in the pros, if you're in a stacked show, like a lineup with like an Olympia type lineup where there's like 20 guys or 15, whatever it is, like massive amount of guys. The guys in the bottom who've worked just as hard as the guys at the top just aren't maybe like there yet development wise or experience wise. They're not really getting a look, right? Like they're going on stage and they're getting their call out numerically, and then they're getting to be in a pose down later on when they are just battling for lower positions in placings, right? But that's kind of a cool way to really put these athletes up on, like we said, like a pedestal, literally, and show them off, right? And get them to like have that little moment where they, like the guy in the video who's the announcer, the MC for like the contest, is saying it's like gladiators, which when he said that, it snapped, it like clicked to me, right? Where I was like, yeah, it is. Like you're showing them off in like this like top down lighting, like super like shadowy, like showing off, like that's your physique looks the best in that kind of lighting. I don't know why they don't do that kind of lighting in every fucking show. Top down like Night of Champions lighting from back in the day. But it's like, it's a cool thing to do for, like you could even have it like, if there's a bunch of people in the show, you could have it be like they come out in packs and they all go around and hit shots for whatever 30 seconds and then go back, right? So just something cool for everyone who competes to be able to like take part in that. Because obviously we know that the top guys are going to get compared the most and going to get posed the most and brought back out to pose and whatever, right? And by the night show, not everybody, in amateurs anyway, not everybody does the routine because there's too many fucking people. In the pros, everyone does the routine, right? But you get those two sections of time where if you're like an up-and-comer, you're really getting your chance to like show yourself to people, no matter what your placing is. So it's cool. I just would have been really awkward about that. Like when if it's how fast is it rotating? So it's like, could I just chill out for like half the rotation and then like hit a pose when I come to the front? But they were all posing like the whole way around, and like this thing. So it's like I just be in the back like with my hands on my hips, like, what the fuck are we doing here? So not everybody has this. A lot of people don't have this machine in their gym. And if you don't, then get on your gym owner to get it. It's amazing. But a lot of people that do this machine here, or other gyms that might have it, you see them like they almost stand too far away, and they're here and they're like, I don't know whether they stay behind the handles a bit and they're trying to like flex down like around, and you're gonna get pec no matter what angle you take on this. Like you're gonna feel your pec at some point. But the idea is to feel, in my eyes, like feel like this is like a most muscular, like how you'd hit it on stage, right? So if I hit a most muscular on stage, I wouldn't be coming from like the ceiling and grabbing. I'd literally be like here. So I'd be pushing down and tucking my hip back. So on this, the hip movement is the most important because we're gonna set it at different angles. This is a higher pull, so we're gonna put our hands out a little deeper than the nook of the bend there. So I'm gonna come across the front of my chest. And I'm still rocking hip forward and then tucking hip down. So when I fold this hip down, I slam down on my hands and squeeze across my pec. So my chest is always forward. It's never behind my arms. I'm always scooping under my pec. The line of my hands goes underneath my pec or my rib cage, squeezing, right? So my hip rocks to allow that to happen. Other people looking think you're just doing this, like rocking up and down, but it's like I'm moving with the motion of my hip. So my hip dictates when I'll go up and when I'll drop down, right? So you can lower it and hit more lower pec, so we can really get up, like choke up on the handles here, right where the bend is. And I can get in this position where I already feel my pec, like I'm in a 3/4 rep. So I'm just squeezing down through. The goal isn't to get these as high as they can. Just because they go all the way up here doesn't mean they need to. We're keeping the tension down in our pec, in our lower pec, in our palm, and squeezing through. So my face will be over this pad. I'm not gonna put my head on it. There's no fucking point. When my chest stays up in front of me and I squeeze underneath my rib cage. So I'm pushing, always pushing down through things. Pushing, I'm not coming around. I'm pressing. And this thing on its own arcs. So if I push straight down on this, it forces me in. I'm not bringing that in. I'm not curving in. I'm pushing straight down and flexing in as it pushes me in. So again, I'm riding the tension of the machine, taking the path of the machine. It's like, it fucking fascinates me that even in a gym like this, and I'm sure other people watching this have great gyms they train at. There's a lot of great gyms out there. That like, you may see a video of a guy who maybe is not in the gym that's as well equipped as this one, or one's comparable to this, right? So they have to improvise and make these type of movements, or like pec deck or fly, different fly angles with a bench and like a cable. So you'll see them set up in cables and they'll come around and squeeze here, do this stuff. It's all understandable, the angle they're trying to get and what they're trying to do. Like, I understand it, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's based out of like your lack of equipment. Here, if you're doing that, you're an idiot. Like, if you're setting up a pec deck type cable fly on a machine like this here in the Prime, or in a narrower cable stack, you understand that there's fucking 4 machines right there that are flies, all different angles. There's actually 5 or 6 if you include these plate loaded ones. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, those are designed for that movement. You're having to like articulate the bench to like the exact angle you want, then move the seat up, and then move it forward and back certain inches wherever you're trying to find the tension, move the arm of the handle, find that right angle. It's like, you can just sit down on that machine and adjust the seat height and the angle of the back pad probably, and do the same thing on a smoother, more concise way of hitting the muscle, right? So it's like, you guys see these guys doing these improvised lifts, or these like what they deem to be better movements because they lack equipment in their gym, which is not a knock on people. Some people just don't have shit. I've never been in a gym this well equipped in my life till I came here, so I had to improvise too, right? But if you have these machines available, like every gym has a pec deck. Even the shittiest gym in the world has some version of a pec deck, reverse fly, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So it's like, learn how to use that, and then you don't have to do all this other shit. It's like, if you don't have, like we have the M torture row over there where this thing kind of sinks around. It starts here and it kind of drops on an angle, swooping down. So it's going to allow you to pick up more pec. So if you don't have that, it's hard to understand. You can get that on another pec deck. It's just you're going to have to change the angle of your elbow and the angle of your hands, right? So I understand if you're doing it on cables and you're setting up a bench so that you can pull through more here, I get it. But it's like, exhaust the resources you have before you start going and setting up all these complex lifts. Or you see guys in this gym like setting up benches off the fucking pull down, and they're doing one arm pull downs off this. Like, do you guys understand we have some of the smoothest back equipment in the world? Panada, the one arm Panada over there, like overhead pull down, the independent one, it's the bilateral one. It's like one of the best pull downs you could ever use. If you can't feel your lat on that, there's no hope for you. That shit is designed perfectly. It's mind-blowing to me the amount of people that spend this time, like they saw so-and-so in their gym like set up this like cable press, and they're like here and they're pressing around this cable, or the cable is like pulling way out this way and they're sliding across this way, as opposed to like being on the closed chain of a pec deck that's allowing you to squeeze properly and slide into inner pec because you're bringing your hand across. So I'm catching inner. Now you're just like pulling across and like shearing on your shoulder. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like another sign of, we were talking about like red flags with trainers and stuff, and like good trainers. So it's been like a topic of conversation on here. It's like, as a trainer, so if I'm speaking to trainers out there that are watching this who follow what I do, it's like you should have a basic understanding of like every machine in the gym, or have at least tried it. Not that you use it constantly, but like in this gym, like there'll be a new piece coming in. Say this came in like last week, and it was here before, but it hasn't been here in a while, or I'm a new trainer, I've never seen this machine. It's like when you're training, come over and use it. Like use it for both things it's for. Like it's for shoulders, it's for chest. Use it for both and find your angles that work best for you, so that when you bring a client here, or someone you're training, you know where you want them to be because you know where you were for you. You might have to adjust it a bit, depending on their height or their strength or like their mobility in their hips or their shoulders, whatever it might be. But you have a basic understanding of where you're putting pressure to elicit the response into your pec, right? So like we said, we don't need to like start from like way up here and then I'm like squeezing around. It's like find where you can like we said just a minute ago, lock on pec, and I feel this pressure down in my pec here. So this pressure on my pec is already here now because of this. So I'm already engaged in outer pec, locked on, scooping under. So when I find that position, I don't need to go higher than that. Yeah, I can rock up a bit to get a little bit of momentum and squeeze through, but I want to keep that tension on my pec. I don't want to come up here and fall back and then push down into it or try and get it so my shoulder wrenches, right? So every machine, like even this, if it came in, you want to try it, like how the fuck does this work? It doesn't mean because you try it and you use it that you're gonna put it in your routine with people. There's a shit ton of machines in here I've never used because I tried them once and I was like, nope. All these people are butthurt about me talking about the new fit trainers, the putting the pads on the stim and all this stuff. It's like, make your money, man. I'm cool with whatever you do. I'm not gonna fucking directly call out anyone. There's so many people doing it. For you to think that I'm directly talking to you, you must be a narcissist and think that you're the only one who's doing it. There's tons of people doing it. Look on fucking Instagram. They're all over the world. It's not just like one guy. And by saying a thing about the machine, I'm calling out one guy or two guys individually. It's like, it's just something that frustrates me. And anybody who really knows lifting, really genuinely knows lifting, knows that that's not doing anything in terms of building muscle, which is why we're fucking here. We are bodybuilders. We are here to build muscle. That is the name of the game. So I understand the applications for something like that, for like injury, rehab, some type of like issue where like a certain muscle isn't firing due to maybe a tear or due to like issues with alignment within your body, or how you're like, it could be anything that you've deemed that is weak because it's not firing due to you not using it properly or engaging properly, right? So I understand to create a sensation with that, and that's how you should be marketing it. That's the only thing you should be marketing with that. But they want to take it one step further because they understand like that's a limited scope of the machine. So people only think I'm for injuries and rehab. Once they don't have an injury, I don't rehab, they won't use me anymore. So I gotta like sensationalize it and say that this is gonna help you activate muscles more, create more muscle growth. Bullshit. I'll debate that with anybody any day. And I made this comment about how none of like the top guys are using it. When I say top guys, I'm not talking about guys of today. Understand that. When I say top guys, I'm speaking about legends. I'm not speaking about guys today. You guys are cool. Do your thing, man. Like, you're not top guys yet. You might be in 15, 20 years when you're done, when we look back and talk about you. Right now, you're what you are, right? And there's no disrespect with that. It's just like you haven't earned the right to be called the top guy. You're not in the conversation with Yates, with Coleman, with Wheeler, with Cormier, Samir Bannout. You're not in those conversations, man. Lee Priest, like, it's not happening, guys. You're not being mentioned in that conversation. But you're gonna get there eventually, for sure, faster than I ever would. I don't compete anymore. But for now, chill out. Like, you're still ascending. You're not at the top, right? So it's like these guys like, oh, they debate me. It wasn't like an argument, and I'm not mad at someone who wants to debate me. They have their opinion, I have mine, right? But it's like, when you're telling me a lot of top guys do use it. Okay, top guys do use it. They're where they are in their career now. 26, 27, 28-year-old, 25 to 34-year-old, 30-year-old pro, okay, on their way to becoming great. When they were back in this whole 15 years of 20 years or whatever it is, 17 years of lifting to this point, are you crediting the E-stim for that path and all the work you've put in? Because you're just using it here. So I just used it here, and now I'm incrementally getting better. Meanwhile, I have this foundation of training behind me that's 15 years that's gotten me to the point where I've got it. The guy who argued with me has some of the best legs in the world. Like, I've never seen quads on this guy. So I said to him, like, it looks like you know how to engage muscle. You don't need help with that, do you? Look at your fucking quads. Well, I've never felt so much engagement as I did on that machine. Yeah, man, it's tensing your leg and forcing a muscle to fire when it's supposed to be in a relaxed state. It's now in a tense state. Of course it's gonna fire harder. Does firing harder mean that you're gonna get bigger muscles? Nope, it doesn't. It's literally like you're focusing on the concentric portion of the lift and keeping your body in this state of like semi-concentric portion of the lift all the time, so you don't ever get the negative and the stretching of the muscle, which is like what we all know is the most beneficial for hypertrophy and creating muscle growth, right? So if I'm constantly tense and say I can only stretch to this far, I can only create this much elasticity because I'm fucking locked down in my muscle that now doesn't move in a full range. Take that fucking thing off and watch this happen. Watch the lengthening and the stretching happening and understanding, controlling your negative with your own tension and your own tempo, which you've been doing your whole life up until now, but now you're like, oh, this is a hack. I hacked my body. It's like, you guys, like, whatever makes you sleep better at night or whatever, like, because bodybuilders, when they get to a certain point, and like younger kids it's happening to now, like the motto is basically like, if it makes me 1% better, I'm gonna do it. So even if there's a chance that it can make me 1% better, I'm doing it. Because like 1%, you know how much that is? It's like, yeah, but it could also do fucking nothing. Because 1% at the end of the day is nothing in the grand scheme of development in the body, right? So it's like these little hacks and this and that and guys getting butt hurt. It's like, the best part about it is the guys who use the stim machines, the ones I see using it, when they're training themselves, aren't using it. They're not dragging that cart around and fucking, let me boom, 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 boom. And like showing people like visually, like, I train like this works, look at me as the person that does it, you can see I'm in shape or whatever it might be, so you can trust me that this works. It's no, like, let me hook you up, turn the dials, fucking put that thing away, let's go work out. Never seen them using it. Like, never. So it's like, that tells you something, right? If the guy or girl who promotes it doesn't use it, red flag. Massive red flag. I train the way I train myself is exactly how I train my clients. The style, the movement, the pace, everything.